Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the same Leg here representing TeamJVS. Here, you guys, another series review, and I'm talking about Love, Death, and Robots Season 4. Now, I'm gonna preface it like this: I anticipated this being two parts. I did not know it was just gonna be 10 episodes, so I was kind of like looking for a little bit more after the fact. I'm not sure if you guys felt that way. Also, when I was watching this, I was also just coming off of surgery, and so I was in a lot of pain. But I did go and take notes, so that's why I'm late to the party. But I'm gonna go ahead and kind of give you the episode names and just kind of give you a little bit of backstory with each one of them, and give you my clear, concise thoughts of each episode in a very short amount of time. First episode, Can't Stop. Second episode, Close Encounters of of a Mini Mind. Spider Arrows, 400 Boys. Episode 5 is the other large thing. Episode 6 is Goliath. Episode 7, Screaming of the Tyrannosaur. Episode 8 is How Zeke Got Religion. Episode 9 is Smart Plants and the Stupid Owners. And then episode 10 is For He Can Creep. So let's go ahead and get right into this. I'm going to go and get to episode 1, which episode 1 is Can't Stop. Now, this threw me off. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. So this was a puppet concert, and this was the opening, which is such a weird opening for a series like this. But to me, I love the originality of this. This was freaking insane. So you had the Red Hot Chili Peppers doing an actual live show with puppets, and the 3D hybrid animation, along with the movements of actual puppets, were done in such a way that the camera angles were freaking awesome, because there are moments where the puppets were doing things that a human body can't do, but then you're also seeing the puppeteering work that's actually being done, along with the fact, if you're a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, the music is fire. And then when you think about like a sold out crowd, and these guys are insane, they went in. David Fincher directed this as well, and I think he put his foot in this. This was insane to me. And it was so unfiltered, so unrated. I did not anticipate an opening like that, but I'm so glad they did. And it was such a breath of fresh air, because it set the tone for wherever this was gonna go. So that is as far as the first episode, I really did enjoy it, and I thought it was freaking nuts. Now, let's get right into the second episode, which second episode is the Close Encounters of a Mini Mind. What did I think about that? I love every single one of these from every season. So whenever this comes up, I'm always like, what's about to happen? I think the last season, it was like zombies, a zombie apocalypse actually happened. This is like aliens come down, they're trying to go and make peace. There's a little bit of discrimination that's going on. Somebody lets off a shot, and it does not go well at all for anybody. But how they're able to handle it with these small little characters, it is crazy. And it's kind of like you get a revolt, you get like a rebellion, you get like a comeback story. And the animation, from an animation standpoint, they go above and beyond how they handle this. It just isn't crazy. It's crazy how they keep building on these. And this one was one of the first ones I was like, yo, I want to see where this goes. Keep it moving. And they did not break stride. I actually really appreciated how they actually handled that. I really actually enjoyed this episode. This is one of the better ones, but I also am biased because I love the series. So the next one is called The Spider Rose. So The Spider Rose is based around a girl. She's dealing with a lot of PTSD and memories. They're attached to her past. Something really terrible happened. I'm not going to spoil it for you because it's a non-spoiler technical series review. But she's screaming constantly. She's always dealing with a lot of the really bad memories. Even when first time we see her, like her body is shaking to the point that she had to take a drug to get herself together. But she's also responsible for like mining out some stuff and selling stuff without spoiling too much. And she's using these mechanical bugs to kind of navigate and traverse like her location where she's at. And then one time a trader comes along, it's like giving her a proposal, and it's like he notices she may be lonely and there's nothing he can bargain with. So he gives her a little creature, and she names the creature Nosy. And as time goes on, she adapts to Nosy and he adapts to her. Honestly, if you've seen Lilo and Stitch, this is a dark version of Lilo and Stitch. Perfectly animated, very violent, very gory, and very traumatic conclusion to this. But it's still, nonetheless, it's actually done really well. I'm actually surprised how well they were able to kind of handle it. But it is really harsh. And I'll say that when you think back to like even like the second season of Love, Death, and Robots, I mean, there's a lot of harsh storylines that they do not care kind of where the trajectory could take you emotionally. But this was a little harsh. But I did really appreciate it, as well as a lot of the other stories in this. But I'll kind of go over those in a second. Next one up is the 400 Boys. So the 400 Boys. Um, hmm. There is, I think it was the Animatrix. There's an episode of the Animatrix, as well as there's an episode, I think, in the second or the first season that took place where a person was at a pool. The same kind of animation, and this is really interesting. This is one of those ones I really wish they would have made more episodes of, because I feel like they rush it a lot. But the premise of it is you got these individuals that have this telekinesis and these certain collaborative powers. Animation is really heavy on the shading, and the style of it is really crazy. I think it takes place in the UK as well. It's not in the States. um they have to kind of band together with this good versus evil kind of situation, but they also are kind of combating something that they consider kind of like God. And it's kind of like you don't you don't know how this is going to truly end. And you definitely know that this is deeper than just you fighting something and expecting to win, because it's not going to go the way you think. But I think that how they handle it is done really well. I think it's just not going to be one of those ones where people are going to kind of gravitate towards. I think that more people will kind of check out of this one, unfortunately, than anything else. So next up, we've got the cat. And there's two different episodes about cats, which is really weird. But this episode is you got a cat and you got a robot. And the cat, it speaks cat. But the robot that kind of comes in like interprets the cat's words. And I think the cat's name is Sanchez, I believe. But the robot goes and starts doing this bidding. It basically is like, you're my master, I'm gonna take care of you. And the way they kind of handle the cat's visuals is really well done. It's weird because the humans just got this weird look to them. But the cat is a genius. He kind of reminds me of Batman a lot, but an evil version of that, because he definitely wants to band together and take over. But I think the interesting part is when the robot gets into the house and what they do with the robot and what the robot needs and how they handle it is crazy. Also, you get this understanding the cat is not as forthcoming and you don't even really know who the cat really is and what his true name is. It is definitely kind of like Planet of the Apes style, but I think they do handle it pretty well. So it was all right. I actually did enjoy it on certain levels. What else? What else? Oh yeah, this was actually a really good one. So the next one is oh man. Um what was it? Well, no, it was the one after this one. That's the one that I really like. This one is the Gala Golgaiatha. Golgaiatha. I don't know how to really pronounce it. But basically you got a priest. You got a priest that is being forced to go and uncover, well, not even uncover, like he's basically trying to keep and protect the human race, because this alien's coming down. He's interpreted what they are going to do next, but he's going to be communicating with this priest about religion and about what's supposed to be next. And pretty much everybody's like, don't F this up, don't mess this up. And the alien asked him about his faith, asked him about resurrection and his interpretation of what it looks like. But instead of the interpretation of what it would be, what you would think in like Jesus Christ, it's connected to a dolphin. And from there, it just goes crazy. I didn't necessarily like this episode. The last time they did like a live action, this is not. I was thinking back. This is not their first time doing like a live action and then having like CG animated characters within it. The one that's with uh in the refrigerator, that was one of the last ones I remember. I just didn't like this one. I didn't really like the priest. I didn't really like the situation they put him in. I didn't think it just didn't work for me, and it's one of the weaker episodes for me. I did wish it was a little bit better, especially because it's not even animated truly. But yeah, it just wasn't for me. The next one is the screaming of the Tyrannosaur, and that, from an animation standpoint, from an action standpoint, was freaking awesome. It takes place in Jupiter. I guess there was some kind of wedding going on, so they basically using these people from all across the galaxies to basically use them as their entertainment. The visual aesthetic for this and the costume designs were trippy. Um, I don't want to spoil it, but the way they handle like the technology in this is crazy, and how they ride, um, the way that they handle cinematography and action in this is just amazing. Um, but yeah, no, even down to like there's so many different moments in this one that like very few words were used, but you could get a genuine feel of human connection, love, care, devotion, um, empathy. I think even more so than anything was kind of how they handled the actual games and what it actually truly means. And oh, shout out to Mr. Beast because he was one of the announcers, and it looked just like him. And I heard him. But this is a really dope episode. It's one of my favorites for sure. But the next episode is actually my favorite episode. I don't think it's going to get the recognition it deserves, but I am talking about how Zeke found religion. This was amazing. And I mean truly. Because the thing is, in the past, they've had really great animated, episodes. Like the animation is just second to none. Like you won't see anything like this. This is 2D animation, but this is so creative. This reminded me of like old school animation in the 90s and the 80s. And basically you have a scenario where you got this team and they're trying to retrieve something. They're flying into France alone. Target is a church. They try to target a church. It doesn't make any sense. And all of a sudden something happens and now something is on board and it is slowly but surely converting and tormenting the whole entire crew. If they're not being tormented physically by some kind of affliction, they're being maliciously and violently attacked in ways that this is a horror. Like if you are a horror fan, this is one of those episodes you share with somebody. This is one of the best episodes to me that Love, Death, and Robots have ever done because there's actually a true story to it. Not to say the other ones don't, but there's within the confines of this. If they don't make another episode, this was enough. I mean, beyond gory for sure, but how they handle like faith and the impact it has on the actual character Zeke, who is a black man, is really interesting. And also via their interpretation of the fallen, um, it's really freaking good. This is to me the best episode of the season for me. The next episode was what was that one? I think that one was the appliances. Um, that one and Goliath were my two weakest episodes because basically kind of starts off with like a thermostat talking, and then it was like a toothbrush. It was basically all the different appliances, like Toy Story style, like talking about their importance, their value, where what's happening, how they're being used. It reminded me a little bit of also Sausage Party a little bit. The clay animation was, I don't know, I just couldn't get behind it. It really was kind of nonsensical to me. I didn't get any connection to it. And also coming off an episode like how Zeke got his religion, yeah, this just didn't land for me, unfortunately. And then last but not least, the last episode, he for he can creep. That episode was probably the second best episode because it didn't feel like short. It felt like two-parter. And they had a lot of substance there. Basically surrounding the guy that, kind of just a normal guy, had a normal job, and like he had a cat. The cat kind of kept him accountable. He said basically if the cat didn't do that, then the enemy would go and attack him, the devil would attack him. And something happens one night and he sure enough gets attacked. And it's crazy to me how they handle these cats, and this one cat that goes and has to go above and beyond to try to protect this one individual, and how they handle that in the animation with it is crazy. Like, I really did think that they did a really good job. I think it takes place in like 1757. Again, he's just a normal poet. And the cat's name, I think, is Joffrey. And it's just these three individuals going back and forth with trying to, who owns is maintaining the soul of this poet. It is really great as far as elemental animation. 3D animation is great. 2D animation is crazy. Yeah, it's just interesting how they use cats twice in this season, and they do a really good job with both of them. It does have an interlude. Definitely go and check it out if you haven't seen it already. And then when the third act happens with the different cats, that's when it gets crazy. So those are my my baseline breakdowns of all the different episodes and my interpretations of them. Definitely the stronger episodes for me come down to how Zeke got his religion, which is episode 8, as well as the screaming Tyrannosaur, which is episode 7. And I mean, I think 10 is really good, but for me, it definitely was a close counter of a mini mine and Can't Stop. Yeah, that was freaking. Can't Stop is probably one of the most enjoyable episodes of Love, Death, and Robots we ever gonna get and we have ever gotten. I think it's a good little icebreaker going into it. As a season as a whole, I mean, some people have a lot of critiques and issues with it. I didn't really have that. I mean, it wasn't like, but one episode I felt like was not necessarily good. Other one I just didn't think it was too nonsensical. I'd rate this at like an 8 out of 10. I actually did really truly enjoy this. So let me know what you guys thought of season 4, Love, Death, and Robots. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great evening, good day, good night, whatever time you watch this. Thank you for following. Thank you for subscribing. Make sure you like and leave a comment what you thought about Love, Death, Robots season 4. All right. Peace, y'all.
Filing out the top of I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline. Ain't nothing on